For a desert race is designed to push vehicles and riders to their limits across some of the most unforgiving terrain on Earth. Every participant signs up knowing that the environment is hostile, that distances are vast, and that the margin between a controlled race and a genuine emergency is narrower than it looks on a map. What transforms a sanctioned race into a survival situation is not usually a single catastrophic moment. It is the accumulation of small failures, each one narrowing the options available to the people caught inside them. The Finke Desert Race runs from Alice Springs to the remote community of Aputula in Australia's Northern Territory. It is an off-road, multi-terrain, two-day event open to motorbikes, cars, buggies, and quad bikes. The course cuts through genuine desert country, not a manicured rally stage. The landscape is ancient, the distances are real, and the heat is not a backdrop. It is a physical force that acts on every machine and every body moving through it. The race exists precisely because the terrain is that demanding. The same qualities that make it a legitimate test of off-road competition are what make any breakdown or navigational error immediately consequential. Competitors who enter events like this plan carefully. They study the course, prepare their vehicles, carry mandated safety equipment, and rely on a support structure that includes race officials, course marshals, and in many cases, satellite communication devices. The plan, in other words, is thorough. The plan accounts for the expected difficulties. What it cannot fully account for is the specific, compounding sequence of problems that turns a hard day of racing into something else entirely. The break from a normal race into a survival scenario usually begins with something mechanical or navigational. A vehicle stops, a rider goes down. The support network that was supposed to be reachable is suddenly not. In desert terrain of the kind found between Alice Springs and Aputula, the distances between any one point and the nearest reliable assistance can be measured in dozens of kilometers. When a machine fails in that environment, the person attached to it faces a set of physical facts that do not negotiate. The first problems arrive quickly in desert conditions. Temperature is the most immediate variable. In the Australian Outback, daytime temperatures in race season can reach extremes that accelerate dehydration far faster than most people expect. Water carried on a vehicle or in a pack has a finite volume. The body's demand for that water increases with heat, exertion, and stress. Shade is not a given in open desert country. The terrain that makes the Finke course what it is, spinifex flats, dry creek beds, red sand ridges, offers very little natural protection from direct sun. A person waiting for help in that environment is not simply waiting. They are losing water and losing it at a rate the situation does not allow them to replace at will. Shelter and signaling become the next layer of concern. A stopped vehicle is visible from the air in ways that a person on foot is not, which means the decision to stay with a broken-down machine rather than walk is not merely instinctive caution. It has a practical logic grounded in the geometry of desert search operations. Walking in desert heat without knowing the precise distance to water or assistance carries its own risk profile, one that can escalate faster than remaining stationary. These are not abstract survival principles. They are the specific physical constraints imposed by the specific kind of environment. As time passes and the race moves on around a stranded competitor, the isolation deepens. Race vehicles do not stop to assist unless the situation is immediately visible and the rules permit it. The race itself is a moving structure, and once a person falls behind that structure, the corridor of activity moves away from them. Communication equipment that functions perfectly under normal conditions can fail, run out of battery, or transmit to a relay point that is not yet aware anything is wrong. Each hour compounds the deficit between what the body needs and what the available resources can provide. The narrowest point in a desert survival situation is the point at which the person involved must assess honestly what they have, what they can do, and what the realistic options are. In the context of an organized race event, this assessment happens within a structure that is also looking for them, but the timing of that search depends on when the absence is noticed, when the last known position is established, and how quickly assets can reach the location. None of those timelines are instant. All of them have friction. The sourced consequential choice in desert survival events is almost always about resource management and position. Whether to use remaining water immediately or ration it, whether to use a signaling device now or wait for conditions that make the signal more effective, whether to attempt to repair equipment or conserve the energy that repair would cost. Each choice changes the shape of the options that remain afterward. What makes desert race survival accounts significant is not that the choices are exotic. It is that they must be made under heat stress, with imperfect information, and with a body that is already beginning to operate below its normal capacity. Rescue in organized desert race events typically comes through the event's own safety infrastructure. Course marshals, sweep vehicles, helicopter assets where available, and satellite tracking all contribute to locating competitors who have stopped responding to the normal race rhythm. The Finke Desert Race operates across remote Northern Territory terrain where that infrastructure must cover substantial distances. When rescue does arrive, the condition of the person found depends directly on how much time passed, how well they managed their resources during that time, and what the specific environmental conditions were during the wait. Aftermath in these cases is defined by what the body absorbed during the event. Heat-related illness exists on a spectrum. Dehydration affects cognitive function before it produces the more visible signs of collapse. Recovery timelines depend on severity, on how quickly rehydration and cooling began, and on what underlying conditions the person brought into the event. In some cases, competitors return to racing. In others, the consequences are longer and more complicated. The evidence does not permit a single outcome to be assigned to all desert race emergencies because each one is shaped by its own specific variables. What this category of case demonstrates is precise and narrow. Desert racing routes are chosen because they are genuinely remote and genuinely difficult. The same remoteness that defines the race as an achievement defines the emergency as a serious one. The gap between a working race plan and a survival situation can open in the time it takes a mechanical component to fail or a navigation error to compound. The physical environment does not adjust to the race schedule. Heat, distance, and the absence of shade operate on their own terms regardless of what a competitor expected the day to be. The Shalistan Desert Jeep Rally in Pakistan, organized by the Tourism Development Corporation of Punjab and run annually in the Shalistan Desert since 2005, presents a structurally similar set of conditions. Desert rally terrain, by definition, places competitors in environments where the distance to assistance is real and where the environment itself is an active variable, not a passive backdrop. The organization of the event provides a safety framework, but that framework operates within the same physical constraints as the desert it spans. What both events share is the honest fact that entering a desert race means accepting a specific risk profile. The race organizations build safety systems to manage that profile. Those systems work within limits defined by geography, communication, and time. When a situation moves outside those limits, what remains is the intersection of a person, the resources they have, the decisions they make, and how quickly the rescue structure can close the distance between them. That intersection, documented and specific, is what desert race survival cases actually show. Not a lesson in general technique, a record of what happens when the expected conditions fail to hold, and what it costs in real physical terms to wait for help to arrive.